Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm Robin Craig, and you're watching Robin Craig Live here in Houston, Texas, my hometown where the weather could not be better. I went out today and I didn't need a coat or a sweater, and I was totally comfortable. I mean, it's great. And what's really great is we're all saving on our electric bills. We don't need air conditioning and we don't need heating. It's so beautiful and not that common here in my neck of the woods. But I'm glad you're here tonight. How was your holiday season? Did you guys get through it okay? Were you all right? The holidays are so difficult when you've suffered a loss because the holidays are about friends and family. And when people are missing that you really want to see, it just puts a damper on things. But tonight, we are celebrating the new year. Yay! Are we having fun yet? Isn't this great? I've got party horns for you. Here's yours. Here's one for you. I'm going to sit it right here. You can blow it whenever you want because it's really fun. Don't they make stupid sounds though? Whatever. Mine sounds like it's got a bad cold, but it's fun anyway. And I'm wearing my beads that I got on New Year's Eve. And you know, I was so blessed this year. I've been a widow for 6 years, and I've had 7 holiday seasons. And this last one is the first one where Christmas and New Year's were really nice. And you just don't know how grateful I am for that, because there's nothing worse than knowing the holidays are coming and you're like, ooh, I just don't even want to see it come because I already know it's not going to be fun for me, and I know that I'm going to feel lonely. I may even be alone, and sometimes you feel alone even if you're in a crowd of 50 people. It just comes with the territory of grief. So we're going to be talking about 20 tips that will help you to create a great New Year for yourself. But first, it's time for the critter update. Everybody knows I've been catching possums right and left. Things have been so exciting at my place. But over the last week, I'm thinking maybe the wildlife went out of town or something. It's been extremely quiet. But you know, I keep looking, and that's been one of my things with widowhood, is to troubleshoot and to look and to try to figure out what's wrong, even if I don't know how to fix it, just to figure out what's wrong. Well, today I was standing out front and I was looking, and around the top part of my garage, I saw like a possum print. And you know, I recognize them by now. I take pictures of their feet and everything else. I know these little wildlife creatures from literally nose to tail. And I saw a big possum print. And I thought, I think I know how you're getting up there. You're climbing up with a pole. It's just a little nothing pole, I guess a support beam in the middle of my garage around the edge. And so now I guess that's going to be another entry point to get fixed. But I don't want to get everything fixed because then I won't have any more wildlife stories for you. And I know you love them, right? Of course you love them. Okay, now tonight I'm giving away some more Benitos. And so many of the regular viewers have really been able to win and enjoy these great chips that are made from beans rather than corn. They are low glycemic, they're gluten-free, they have high fiber, and they've got protein. And they're so good. That's the greatest news, is that they're good. Uh-oh, look at that. What goes up must come down, and then it must come back up. That felt so weird. Okay, I'm glad I could share that with you. Okay, so the 10th email that just sends me a note that uses the word Benitos on my website is going to win an entire case of these. So if you get the smaller individual bags, there's 24 of them. You can have a Benitos party. So I think you already know my website. It's RobinCraigDirect.com. Just go to the contact page and send me a note that says Benitos, and email number 10 is going to win. And you don't have to be in the chat room to win. All you have to do is just watch the show. So I think I'm going to check into the chat room. Oh my God, there's Mike Solly. Hi Mike, Happy New Year. As you see, we're partying on the show tonight. We're talking about 2012 and what it takes to make a good New Year. I'm delighted that you could join us. I know some people are having some internet connection problems, so just hang in there with it. It's the internet. Sometimes it just happens, but I'm right here. I'm logged on, and I've got 20 tips for you. So don't forget to email me about the beanitos. And I'm seeing you guys are so funny. Julia says she loves them and didn't share. And guess what? That's okay too. You can eat all 24 packs if you want to. They're so good. I'm guilty of that myself, but I hate to confess on the show. You know what I'm saying? So cheers to you, Crystal Light. And there is Terry. Hi, Terry. Oh my goodness, it does my heart good to have you guys here. It's great to have the widowers as well as the widows in the chat room because we all share so much of the same stuff. We can learn and we can share experiences, and it's really fun. I have to share a story. I know that you guys who are my Facebook friends laugh at all the craziness that I put on there, and you can only imagine how I feel. I sit there and I go, should I really share this with everyone, or should I just keep it to myself? It's kind of a hard place to decide. Well, when I had New Year's Eve, I was so glad that I had a great time. I had a wonderful, wonderful party. I had a date, and I danced the night away. People always say, how do you walk in those shoes? And I go, honey, walking's a piece of cake. It's the dancing and the mountain climbing that can get a little bit difficult. But I was wearing these shoes, and my little happy bows on the front. I was wearing these shoes, and as you see, they have a stiletto heel. Well, the next day, I was unpacking my stuff, and I got my shoe out, and these little pieces of confetti were stuck on the bottom of the shoe. Now, I could have never stepped on that and made it stick had I been trying, but I just thought, how long did I walk around with confetti on my shoe? I have no idea. At the end of the night, a lady said, oh, I love those shoes. Now, I wonder if she was actually trying to say, honey, you need to check your shoes out because you got something stuck on there. But anyway, it was fun and it made me laugh, and apparently I gave a couple of people a chuckle today. So we are partying on Robin Craig Live tonight. Happy New Year. Okay, now if you're grieving, and most of the people who watch the show are, we've all lost somebody, or we've lost several somebodies, what do we do to make a new year? First of all, you can wear a fun little hat. How fun is this hat? I feel like a Las Vegas dancer. You know what I'm saying? I probably look like one too, right? Forget about it. Don't even answer that one. But we're talking about, oh my God, there's Tim. Hi, sweetie. We are male-oriented tonight. That is like a beautiful, beautiful thing. Happy birthday, Tim. You just had a birthday. That's so exciting. I know everybody meet Tim. Tim does a really great radio show on Stickum, and he plays great music. And for a while, I was watching the show regularly. It was like a workout plan for me. I would tell myself I had to dance to every song I liked, and Tim kept playing 100 songs that I loved. It was great. So, okay, all right, now we are talking about how to have a great New Year's. First and foremost, we need to get in touch with our bodies. When you're grieving, so many things happen to your body, and if you have medical issues, or maybe you have things that are maybe dormant or under control, and grief can make everything surface. So you need to get checked out, and you need to know your body's numbers. You need to know things like your blood sugar, your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your thyroid. If you're a female at a certain age, and I'm not a doctor, so you can look that up, or you can talk to your doctor, you may already know, but at a certain age, women need to have an annual mammogram and a female wellness exam. Guys need to have their prostate checked. Everybody pretty much knows what to do. It's just a matter of being disciplined enough to do it. But a lot of times you'll go to the doctor, and he'll say things like, you're okay, but I notice with every checkup, your blood sugar is getting elevated, so you're borderline diabetic. Well, you know, if you start to eat better and you exercise, you can keep that from happening. So go get a checkup and find out where your body is. Now, I spoke to a guy with an organization, you can find it on Facebook, and it's about heart attack prevention. It's called SHAPE. The first letter of each word spells out the word SHAPE. And my husband had undiagnosed cardiovascular and hypertensive disease. And at age 43, hours before he died, he's flexing his big biceps. And I'm like, boy, honey, you look great. Boy, your muscles are beautiful. And then he just fell out and died that quickly. So what I was told is to tell you guys that you have to understand that a heart attack can occur even when your cholesterol is within the normal range. So what you need to do is to get checked for plaque, because plaque in your arteries causes blockage. And the executive director of the organization had also shared with me a story where a man went into his doctor, he had a physical, because he wanted to begin a new workout regime. Well, he goes to work out, and the very first day he fell out and died. But it's because he had blockages in his arteries, and the physical did not reveal that. So make sure you get checked for plaque on your arteries. Okay, Julia is saying that heart attacks are frightening. Apparently there's a test, and I'm going to find out more about it. Now, I'll even bring Jay on as a guest on the show so he can tell you more about it. But he shared with me when I met him in the past that there is a test, and it's non-invasive. I think he said it cost maybe around $125, and that may vary in different areas. Once again, I will find out more information, but it's a non-invasive test, but it's not something that doctors customarily do because it requires a machine that's pretty costly. But you want to make sure you go to a doctor who has that machine, because like I said, you can go get checked out and still fall over because your arteries are blocked. It's ridiculous and crazy. I don't know if the heart scan shows it. You guys are certainly asking some really great, intelligent questions, so I will get the answers for you, and I will do a show about this, because we all know how many people are dying from heart disease, and at very, very young ages, just like my husband. So I will do a show about that, and I'll get you some better information about that. And that's good, Terry, that you have your heart scoped and sonograms on your legs. That's good. That's good. We just need to get checked out, because we can appear to be the picture of health just like my husband and die that quickly. And I love you guys, and I want you to be here for a long, long, long time. So get checked out. Get your plaque and your arteries checked. Okay, and I see Julia says that she also has sonograms on her legs because her sister died from a blood clot that was in her leg. Wow. So a lot of times it's sad that we lose loved ones, but we can also learn about our physical predisposition to certain illnesses, and we know what to do, just like you guys who are having the sonograms. That's fabulous. Okay, all right, the next thing we need to do is to just take care of our bodies. Grieving puts a heavy burden of stress on your body, and we all know that it can disrupt our sleep patterns. I mean, we just sort of go to pieces on the inside. And we can also, through the grief process, have our immune systems weakened. And if you have some pre-existing medical issues like high blood pressure, that can worsen because of grief. So we have to take care of ourselves, and exercising regularly helps us manage our stress. And once again, you don't want to start a new regime until you've been checked out and your doctor gives you the okay. But if you're in good enough physical shape to work out, not only elevates your mood because you get endorphins that make you feel great, it makes you feel happy, it also helps you look better. It controls your weight. It can affect maybe perhaps not becoming diabetic because of the weight loss. There are so many wonderful effects from it, and you just feel good and happy when you do something good for yourself, like working out. And if you saw the show that I did last year with Stanley Bronstein, he's my Facebook friend, log on to his site, and he lost a tremendous amount of weight by walking. Nothing fancy, no gym membership. On a rainy day, he would even go to the mall and work out. Isn't that great? I love that so much, because walking is something that you can do anywhere you go. He walks for an hour or an hour and a half every single day. He's lost a lot of shape, and his blood pressure hardly even registers anymore. Isn't that great? So check on Facebook, find Stanley Bronstein, read his books. He's got a great book called Find your path by walking your path, because your mind is free when you're walking. And it's amazing at a lot of issues and things that you will resolve and figure out while you're doing something nice for your body. Now, I see Terry says that he finds that he's eating too much now. Guess that's what they call comfort food. And yes, yes, yes. Yes, that is so right. We do want to be comforted. And somehow in our minds, when we eat the quote unquote comfort foods, we feel better, but only for a minute, because 9 times out of 10, after we eat them, our bodies don't feel good anymore. It's like, why did you do that? And then we get down on ourselves and then we get depressed. But on the other hand, it goes hand in hand with grief. So, it's a new year and it's a wonderful time to really start anew and do everything that is great so that you can take care of yourself. Okay. Julia, you're never going to get the butt you want by sitting on the one you have. That is so funny. That is hilarious. And that's so true. I know, I used to teach aerobics back during the caveman days, and I used to say, squeeze your butt or nobody else will. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's true. But it's a new year, so we can't look back and we can't be hard on ourselves. We look forward and figure out what can we do to make 2012 a better year. Okay, focus on eating rather than dieting. The moment we say we're dieting, you just feel starving. You want to eat everything that you have in your house. But it's really important to eat. A lot of times we deprive ourselves too much. I've been on a diet since I was 7, and I've lost weight the good way, the bad way, and every other way. And I've learned that you really have to eat. Obviously, you need to eat things that are good for you, but you regulate your blood sugar when you eat just a little bit periodically. I know in the caveman days, when I was dating, I would starve all day because I knew I was going to have a great dinner. But I was so hungry by the time I got to dinner, I was not able to turn away the French bread and all the different things that the restaurant serves. So you need to eat a little bit. We all know breakfast is important, but just don't eat so much and only eat when you're hungry. And that's what I did when I lost weight. I would tell myself, if I'm thinking about something, I'll wait until I'm really hungry. And if I'm really hungry and I really want it, I can have it. And a lot of times I would forget about it. And I understood that I was wanting to eat something because of my brain thinking, ooh, that looks so good. And oh, it's in there and I can't wait. And when I made myself a deal and said, if you're thinking about it later and you're really hungry, you can have it, I would forget about it. But focus on eating rather than dieting, and don't deprive yourself. When you eat things that are good for you, you actually feel satiated. You feel full. You feel happy. When you eat like a popcorn, for example, it's just a bunch of meaningless carbs. And you often feel sick at the end of it because you can eat so much of it. But when have you heard somebody say, I ate 2 bags of apples? It doesn't happen. You can't eat that many because you feel so full. So focus on eating well and do what's good for your body. There's so much material out there. There are a lot of organizations. There's a lot of information online. And I will be doing some more shows about this as we go. But just remember, don't starve yourself. Eat and try your best to avoid the comfort foods if you can. Now that's funny. Tim says they say if you use a strong mouthwash, that will depress your hunger. That's pretty funny. Okay, Julia uses Listerine Citrus. Well, I recently bought some Listerine Vanilla, and it sort of cuts the harshness, but you still get the same impact. So I don't know, maybe that's an idea to try. That's amazing. Never really tried that. And absolutely, drinking water is the key. We just have to flush our body. So let's work really hard on that, and I'll do more shows as we go. But right now we need to start focusing on what does it take for us to have a great year, and eating well, taking care of our bodies, knowing what's going on the inside of our bodies. All of that's very critical. All right, set reasonable goals. Now, if you've not had a workout plan and you say, I am so motivated, I'm going to work out 7 days a week, you're setting yourself up for failure. If you're a workout fiend, working out 7 days a week is difficult. And when you set goals and you fall short of reaching them, you get down on yourself and you feel depressed. So if you say, okay, I'm new at this, I'm going to work out 3 days a week, then when you accomplish that goal, it's a small goal, but you feel empowered, you feel happy, and you're ready to move forward for the next goal. And it's so much better to say, I accomplished my goal, which was 3 days a week, rather than saying, I failed because I didn't accomplish my 7-day workout plan. I only worked out 3 days. So set your goals where they are reasonable. You want to push yourself a little bit, but you also want to be able to attain your goals. Y'all have so much going on in the chat room. I'm loving this. I love it. And Julia, that's right, Julia goes to her friend Sandy's and she sleeps like a baby there because sleep is so important. Sleep is important, and your sleeping patterns are off when you're grieving. Sometimes you want to sleep and you just can't wake up, and other times you can't sleep at all. It's very broken sleep, and the slightest noise, you come flying out of bed or you're sitting up in bed. I did that for a long time. I would hear things and I would jump up in bed and go, oh, it's my husband. And then I'd go, no, it's not. And then I would have a hard time going back to sleep because my heart would start beating quickly when I thought, oh my gosh, it's him. And it wasn't him. So sleep is really important. Wow, Frida says, I sleep on the couch. I have a 2-story house and have not been able to sleep good for 2 years. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. I know a lot of people sleep on the sofa. And wherever you're able to sleep, whatever works for you, it's good. And, people recommend a lot of stuff, drinking warm milk, and some people take over-the-counter aids. Other people go to the doctor and they take prescription medications. And a lot of times people say don't eat late at night. I mean, there's a lot of different ideas for what works, but you may have to experiment and see what works for you. A lot of people have insomnia, and I know people who develop that after they lose their spouse. So it's just odd with everything that goes on the body, everything that goes on inside the body, and we just have to know our bodies and really try hard to work on what's going to help us make sure that everything's functioning as good as possible. Okay, now you guys are talking about prescription medication. Julia says Ambien does nothing for her. Okay. Oh my gosh, there's Diane. Hey, sweetie, we're glad you're here. Happy New Year. We're celebrating. Isn't this horn a little bit weak? I have a horn for you. Here's your horn. Here, you can blow it now. Okay. All right. Wasn't that fun? Did you have fun blowing the horn? We have all of our noise makers. We're bringing in the new year. We're figuring out what we have to do to have a great new year. Okay. Let go of the all or nothing mindset. If you want to make a real change, you have to have a positive, forgiving attitude. And I think about that in my dieting history, how I would wake up and I would think, oh, I'm just so hungry, and I would maybe eat something that I knew I shouldn't have. And I can remember hearing myself say, you've already blown it, just forget it, just eat what you want to eat and start tomorrow. That's silly. Just because you screw up in the morning doesn't mean you have to screw up for the whole rest of the day. Be forgiving and understand that you have to try your best in everything you do, but forgive yourself and know that none of us is perfect and none of us can do everything right, and we're not even striving to do everything right. We're just striving to do the best we can, understanding that we're going to have successes and we're going to have failures, but we need to be able to forgive ourselves and to keep trying, and don't say things like, I suck, I blew it, forget about it. But just keep trying, hang in there, you know what I mean? Okay, I see that Nyla is saying she doesn't really recommend prescription medications because they can be addictive, but yes, they do make natural melanoma, and that's true too. I've heard some people say that they have bad dreams when they take it, but it's like everything in life. All of us are different, and we don't know what works. We only know that we have to try different things to see what works. So cheers to you. I'm drinking my favorite pink lemonade Crystal Light. Yummy. and we're figuring out how to have a great year. We're not letting life get us down here on Rob and Craig Live. We are turning our lemons into lemonade. Reach out to others is so important, and it's hard to do because when we're grieving, we withdraw, and we truly feel that people don't understand, and they say things that hurt our feelings and they offend us, and sometimes we feel like people are not there for us. But I've learned that we have to be able to reach out to others. Grief following a close death puts us in a special place. And it's comforting for us to be around others who are experiencing the same thing or have been there in the past, because we know that they really get it. Sometimes we don't act right. Sometimes we do things that are irrational. Sometimes we fly off the handle. Sometimes we get angry for seemingly no reason. Sometimes we're laughing and the next thing we're crying. So it can be difficult for others to be around us when we're grieving. But if we reach out to them, we can oftentimes make things better for us as well as others. And we have to accept that people don't know how to respond to us. They really don't know. So a lot of times they choose to just be quiet. And if you're my Facebook friend, I hope you're my Facebook friend. I think everybody that I see in the chat room are my Facebook friends. If you're not my Facebook friend, you'll find me on Robin Craig under my name. And of course you'll recognize me because you know I'm holding up 2 of my 3 Emmys. They're so heavy, I don't know how you can hold 3. But please friend me because we have wonderful dialogue and the camaraderie with everybody is so great. It's so wonderful and so supportive. But a lot of times people that we're around, they're not those who are grieving. They're co-workers, they're neighbors. And a lot of times they are quiet because they're afraid of making us cry. But if we reach out to them and talk to them first, then that usually comes back to us. So don't be afraid to reach out, and don't be afraid to say how you're feeling. And when people say, how are you? It's okay to say today sucks, because sometimes the days do suck. And we don't have to be trained to say, oh, everything's great, it's wonderful, I'm fine. It's okay. Just say today sucks. I'm struggling, I'm having a hard time. And maybe you're giving someone an opportunity to do something nice for you and to help you feel better. Okay, number 7, listen to your inner voice. I believe that the inner voice is divine guidance. The issue is we typically talk ourselves out of what pops into our heads. Something comes in, it'll say, pick up the phone and call someone. And then we sit there and go, oh, they might be asleep, or oh, I might be disturbing them, or oh, maybe they're dealing with their children. We talk ourselves out of it. And maybe that was the one phone call that we really needed to make because that person was in a great mood and feeling happy, and they were going to share that happiness with us, but we shut it down. And I know from everything, my whole mission to help the widowed and grieving was born out of a little premonition I had, and everybody who watches the show has heard me talk about it, where my body jolted forward and I heard my own voice say, I have to help the widows. And then I talked to myself for 5 minutes. Why am I worried about the widows? I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea which end is up. I don't know where I am financially. I'm in major shock. I can't eat. I can't sleep. But I kept hearing that inner voice. And once I listened to it, the most wonderful thing has happened. And I feel so proud and happy and blessed that you guys are here. I hope that I'm helping you because you guys are definitely helping me, and we're in it together. And our goal for the new year is to continue healing and to push ourselves gently, but to push ourselves to do all of the elements that it takes to have a great year. And just listening to your inner voice is gigantic. If you start to become friends with someone and your inner voice says, no, that person's not right, don't do it. You don't have to understand it. Just listen to it. And then if your inner voice says, I need to reach out to someone, and you go, nah, I'm not going to do it, back up for a second and rethink that, because I have learned for a number of years now that when I listen to my inner voice, great things really happen. And I want to share that with you. And I would love to get some feedback of a situation from you where you listened to your voice and something great happened. It will be really wonderful. Okay, all right, let's see. Okay, yes, and I see you guys are talking about Tom Zuba. I know Tom is like my buddy and I love him. He's a great source of inspiration. It's really hard to think that you could live through the loss of your wife, your 18-month-old baby girl, and your 15-year-old son who died of brain cancer. And Tom Zuba has done that very thing. So it's important for all of us to connect. You'll find a lot of great people on my Facebook site. And it's wonderful to connect with everybody because we all have to be inspired. I mean, life brings us down and we can only be strong on our own up to a point. But when we get together, oh, we have such wonderful power and we learn from one another. So absolutely, please friend Tom on there. And absolutely Michelle Neff Hernandez at Soaring Spirits Lost Foundation. Wonderful people. And Carol Brody Fleet with Widows Wear Stilettos. There are a number of wonderful people who are working hard every day to make life better for those who are widowed and others who have suffered a personal loss. Okay, here's something else we can do. Find forgiveness. It's so hard to forgive people when they're mean to us and they say things that hurt our feelings. But a lot of times they say things and they really didn't mean it the way we took it. We all have a different background and we're raised differently and we think differently and our moods can cause us to interpret something a particular way on a particular day. But if we can just find forgiveness, because it takes a lot of energy to harbor anger and resentment. And if we just accept the fact that we have hurt people's feelings too, I don't think any of us can say we've never hurt someone's feelings. I think that we can say maybe we didn't intend to, but another person's interpretation of our words and our actions may have been very unpleasant for them. So we need to find forgiveness. We need to be able to forgive other people and not hang on to negativity because it eats us up on the inside when other people don't even know it. They have no idea that we're thinking a lot of crazy negative stuff that's really bringing us down. But if we just say we're all humans, we're all frail, we hurt people whether we intend to or not, and to find forgiveness, it makes us feel better. Okay. Oh my gosh, there's Rose. Hi. I'm so glad to see Rockin' Rosie. That's so great, honey. Thank you for joining us. I've been missing you guys. Really glad you could be here. We're celebrating New Year's. I got all my New Year's beads that I picked up, and I've got your little horn here that you're able to blow. Happy New Year. Isn't that fun? Frida, I see that you say you try to live in the moment. The past is good, and who knows what the future will bring, and that's so true. You know, there are a lot of great things that happen if we don't shut ourselves down, but stay open to life's possibilities. Another thing that we can do, we get so caught up in ourselves that it's good when we look to others and think of something nice that we can do for other people. You know, it doesn't have to be anything big. Sometimes it's just picking up the phone and saying, I only have a second, but I'm thinking about you and I wanted you to know how much you mean to me. Wouldn't it make your day if somebody did that for you? Well, it's important for us to get outside of ourselves and not to feel victimized and to feel like everybody needs to come running to us because we're suffering this terrible grief, because guess what? A lot of people are grieving in their own way over a number of things. A lot of people in our world are hurting. So it helps us feel better when we do something for someone else. It could be a simple email. I just want you to know how much you mean to me. You know, I really feel love for you and I appreciate who you are and what you stand for. And every time you do something great for someone, you're going to feel good. It comes back to you that quickly. It's so beautiful. You can make yourself a pact to say, I'm going to do something nice once a day. I'm going to do something nice once a week. But just set yourself up on some kind of schedule until it becomes a habit and you do it without thinking. Okay. Make a list of what you need to accomplish. Mine is 55 feet long. But by doing that, I get a real strong sense of what I really need to do rather than just trying to push it back into the back of my head and forgetting about it. And it feels really good when you're able to cross something off. And if you start a new list, maybe on Monday, that list may start off with what's left from last week's list, and then you can add to it. But by the weekend, when you re-examine what you're looking at and you see, oh my gosh, I've got 15 more things to do, but I marked off 5 things from my list. Boy, does that feel great. It's the most wonderful feeling, and I do that all the time. I'm the Post-it queen. I don't know what I would do without them. I stick them everywhere. Sometimes I stand up and they're just like sticking on the back of my hair and on the back of my shirt, but I love them so much because they're quick reference, and it irritates me to see how they're stuck in different places. So what I'm able to do is take those and put them on my master list. They're just like little reminders, and I put them on my master list, and I'm forever marking things off. And the other good thing about having a list is that you can pick something that you feel like doing, because if you're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I really need to vacuum, I just don't feel like doing that. Well, you might not do anything, but if you pick up your list and you see vacuuming with 10 other things, one of which is go to the post office and mail your packages, you may say, you know what, I can do that. When I feel like getting in the car, I'll go for a little drive. You're still marking something off of your list, and there's no particular order. You get to decide, but making a list helps you clarify all of the things that you really need to do and take care of. Okay, that's funny. Julia says, I feel old. I remember when Post-its were a new thing. I know, isn't that funny? Oh, and Donita, hey, sugar. I'm so excited that you're here too. Wow, that's so great. Just got home from church and was able to log in. I'm tickled pink about that. Thanks so much. I'm excited to have you here because we're having a New Year's Eve celebration. We're going to make this next year, 2012, the best that we possibly can, understanding that we have to give ourselves a break, but also understanding we got to push ourselves a little bit. Okay, another huge thing that we can do to feel better is to get organized. Oh my gosh, when you lose a loved one, there's so much paperwork. And every time you open your mail, there's another form to fill out. There are just so many things, and it just drives you crazy. But if you work at sorting your bills, and maybe you're sorting through your loved one's belongings, maybe you're cleaning your closet, if you can prioritize and divide up this huge list of things you need to do into little sections, then you can cross things off, and you're slowly but surely making your life organized. And I know that I've done a lot of that, and there's always so much more to do. By the time you get through with it, you've got something else that you need to start with. But you always feel good when you're organized. Sometimes you look in your kitchen and you go, when's the last time the spice drawer was cleaned out? What if there are like spices in there that are ancient and I need to get rid of them? Well, now's the perfect time to do it. When a new year begins, there's a sense of newness, and we want to feel organized, and we want to know what we have. So just cleaning out your pantry, cleaning out your junk drawer. Sometimes you look in there and you go, half of this stuff in there, I don't even care about anymore. So just make it a point to think about organization, because we all feel happier when we're organized. And do some cleaning. I always think about how the Bible says cleanliness is close to godliness, and I always feel so happy and so spiritual when things are clean. And I got on a spring cleaning mode last week. I started to get on Facebook and tell you guys to tell me to stop spring cleaning because spring isn't here yet. But I felt so happy doing it because I knew after the holidays I would already feel refreshed and I could move forward with paperwork rather than housework, and it worked for me. So, okay, and understand that grief is going to change. It's hard to understand grief until you've been there, but grief changes, and it is a major roller coaster ride, and we don't really have any control over it. Yes, we can try to choke back tears, but they're still there nonetheless. We just have to wait till we get to a safe place where we feel like we can just cut loose crying without other people knowing about it. And also know that grief can be triggered by so many things: a smell, a sound, a song, a comment that someone says. I told a girl the other day, I said, I love you to pieces. I say that quite a bit. And she says, oh my gosh, my husband used to say that. And she started to tear up, but it made her feel good because it was heartwarming to think of that phrase that meant so much to her. And it's okay to cry. You know, we need to learn how to accept tears and understand that when people cry, it's a release. And rather than stifling the tears, we need to allow people to cry, and feel free to walk over and give them a hug and just say, honey, you're okay. It's going to be okay. We all need to hear and know it's going to be okay, because in the end, everything really is okay. It's just hard to feel that 24/7. So understand the grief is a roller coaster, and know that for a lot of people just bury themselves in their work. And I did that a little bit. It wasn't because I wanted to, and it wasn't because I was hiding from the grief, but it's because I'm a TV producer, and I felt very, very responsible to my job. And I knew that if I could force myself to go back, I would have hiatus before long, and then I could fall apart. So it was hard to go back. Some people say it's good to go back to work because it gives you a focal point, and to some degree that's true. But on the other hand, it's so difficult to force yourself to focus on things when you feel like you're on another planet. So you have to make your own decisions, and sometimes you go back to work because you have to. But whatever you decide, know that it's okay to grieve while you're at work. And if you have to take a bathroom break, or if you have to hold it until the moment you get in your car, it's okay. When the tears come, they come, and let them come, because it's part of the healing process. After a while, you get so sick of crying. It's not like the tears are gone, but you get sick of being in that place where you just can't do anything but cry, because it's exhausting, and none of us wants to stay there any longer than we have to. Okay. I'm seeing what you guys are talking about. You're talking about mail is hard. Yes, 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 the mail is so hard. And canceling your loved one's credit cards and putting things in your name, and all of those things are super duper hard. They really, really are. And it's even hard as the years pass, where people that maybe your spouse has done business with, they still have their name on their list, and you get mail to them, and it's so weird to go, oh my gosh, they're still getting mail. And it's hard, but you know, we have to go through it. We have to deal with it. It's the only way. We have to deal with it. But yeah, it's really, really hard. It's so hard to pick up the phone and say, I'm canceling whatever, because they always say why, and you have to say, he died, she died, whoever it is. And that's hard. It's almost impossible to do without crying. And it's good if you have a friend to help you. And if you don't, once again, we just get through it and we do what we have to do. Know that grief is truly exhausting, physically, emotionally, mentally. It takes everything we have in order to grieve. But work at getting enough rest so that your body has the strength that it needs to grieve. I mean, I'm sure everybody watching the show has cried incessantly for hours at a time, where you just don't even know how you were able to do it because you're so exhausted. But it is a big part of the process, and allowing yourself to go there will, in the end, get you to a place where you can start to come back up. And don't feel guilty for it, and don't feel that you have to make excuses for it. We have to learn how to say, I feel really sad today. I really do. I just feel really sad. And for the most part, people will be compassionate toward us, unless it's like your worst enemy, and I'm sure there are a couple of those out there. But for the most part, people want to help you feel better if they just know what to do, and if you communicate. And being able to say, I'm having a hard day, but I'm hanging in there, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. pamper yourself. This is my favorite one. Bubble baths, just a bubble bath where you tell yourself, it's okay, I'm going to hang out in there for a minute and I'm going to soak and I might read a book and I'm going to blow bubbles, whatever it is. Make yourself feel pampered. To just lotion your body from head to toe makes me feel very happy. To do a mud mask that you can do at home, you look funny. Sometimes you can laugh when you look in the mirror and you see this green stuff all around your face, or maybe it's brown. But when you peel it off and your skin looks shiny and you can tell you've gotten the dead cells off, you really feel good. And we need to pamper ourselves, because when we're grieving, that's not something that we focus on. But it's great if you say, you know what, I'm treating myself to a pedicure. I'm treating myself to a manicure. It's so fun to go to the nail shop and they rub your wrist and they rub your hands, because when you're widowed, you lose your partner and you lose the physical touch. You miss the hugging, you miss the hand holding. So to have a professional massage or a manicure or a pedicure or facial, anything where your skin is being touched, can make you just feel happy, and it just sort of gives you a sense of being alive, and I think that's super important. So don't be afraid to pamper yourself, and it truly doesn't matter what you do, just whatever you can come up with that makes you feel better and it makes you feel special. And also know that when you grieve, your body just like a big knot, and if you can work out all of the pressure and the soreness that your body holds, you'll feel so much better. But you can start on any level. There are people who will say, Robin, I can't afford a massage, and I understand that completely. But you can have a pedicure, and that doesn't cost very much. So find ways, Maybe you can even find a friend, and you can do some things with each other, and you can have fun sharing the experience. But just know that pampering yourself will make you feel better. Understand that it's okay to say no. Boy, that's really hard, because people want to help us and they coerce us into doing things. But sometimes we don't feel like doing it, and it's much better to say no than it is to go somewhere feeling like I don't want to be here from the get-go, and then maybe having a breakdown right in the big middle of the event. That doesn't feel good. None of us wants that. So if you're able to say, I really appreciate the offer, and I know that your intentions are the best, and maybe I'll take you up on it later, but right now I truly just need to be home alone. Be strong enough to say that, and don't let people drag you out, because it really sucks to be in the middle of an event. You've ridden with somebody else, you can't leave, and you're just choking the tears, or you're in the bathroom. I mean, it's just not right. So, and saying okay is fine. It's okay to do that. Okay. All right, and that's good, Frida. Frida says no a lot to people because she's just not in a good place at times. And that's exactly right. When you're grieving, you can't be in a good place at all times. Sometimes you are and sometimes you're not, but only you know where you are and how you feel at a particular moment. And it's up to us to share that with people and to be kind. I appreciate the offer, but I already know it's not going to work for me. It's just not a good day. Please ask me again. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. And Terry says buddies have asked him to go out drinking, but he didn't do it when his wife Melody was alive, and he's not going to start now. Well, and you know what? If you don't feel like going, you don't have to. If you do feel like going at some point, Terry, it's okay. Even if you didn't do it when your wife was living, if something changes for you and you feel like going, it's okay, because we're going to change. We develop different interests. Our goals are different. Our friendships can oftentimes change. And if you do feel like going at a later date, it's okay. And if you don't, guess what? That's okay too. It sure is. Nyla's got a high school friend. They go out once a week, and that's so wonderful. I love that. When you reach a point where you feel like doing that, that's a wonderful sign of healing. I love that. But we have to sometimes work at it, because we don't always feel like at it. We don't always feel like doing things that people ask us. Okay, this one is so important. Seek your passion. What makes you tick? When you look back and you think of things that you've done for an extended period, where at the end you say, I can't believe I've been doing that for 3 hours. It doesn't feel like 3 hours. Whatever that is you were doing indicates that you had a passion for it. And when you find your passion, you get a sense of being fulfilled, and you can pass the time in some wonderful ways, because so often we pass time doing things we don't want to do, but we feel that we have to. You may say, house cleaning, but I got to do it. Oh my gosh, I have to mow the yard. I really don't like that, but the grass is 3 feet high. We spend an awful lot of time doing what we have to do. When we find out what we are passionate about and we do things that connect with that, life is a great, great place to be. I am passionate about my work to help the widowed and grieving. The time passes very quickly for me when I'm researching, when I'm putting a show together, when I'm building my set, when I'm doing my extreme makeover. Everything that I do to put the show together, I feel happy because it's my passion. It certainly wasn't before my husband died, but it is now, and it feels really great, and it's a gift and a blessing. So seek your passion and go to that place where you're able to say, I remember when I used to read to small children at the school. Well, maybe your kids are out of school, but maybe you can still read to people. There are organizations where you can teach people to read, and maybe that will be a wonderful outlet for you. Or maybe you say, well, I used to enjoy when my kids were in the Boy Scouts. And I used to love to go and watch them learn how to fish and tie hooks. Well, guess what? You can still do that with kids today. Maybe they're not yours. Maybe they're grown. Maybe you don't have grandchildren. But there are a lot of organizations with kids who really need help and they need attention from adults. So the main thing to do is to figure out where your passion lies and then begin to explore the different categories where you can exercise your passion, and I promise you will find something that you will plug in that will fit so well. It's great. Julia says, I taught my kids to use their wings. I'm proud to see them use them. Absolutely. And it is bittersweet. It's hard when you have children and they grow up and they go away, but it's also a huge gift to see them doing the things that you taught them, and especially once they have kids and they're sharing what you taught them with your grandchildren. That's just like priceless. That's so beautiful. Donita says, John and I hosted so many parties, the Super Bowl, New Year's Eve, etc. And this year, I sat home with my 21-year-old son and watched a movie. All those couples forgot about me, and I know that. That's really a bummer. It's really a bummer that people forget about us when we're widowed. And I don't know what they think we're doing, but we want to do the same things that we used to do. But sometimes, Donita, what I was saying earlier, I think it's before you logged on, that we have to often lead people by the nose. We're feeling badly. Maybe they're thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't invite them. They're home grieving and crying and they'll feel obligated to come. Maybe they don't know what to do. So maybe we should all decide to contact people who are missing from our lives, and to just be open and upfront and to say, you know what, I really miss all those great holiday celebrations. This year I kept thinking about all the parties that we used to have at New Year's, and I was home alone. Maybe we can start that up for the new year and just see where it goes. And if those people fall apart, make new friends, and we can still do it. You know what I'm saying? But don't let those things go and feel like they're gone. Understand that we have to take the initiative. And it's hard to call people, Frida. I know. It's so hard to call. I hate it too. But on the other hand, it's hard to sit home wishing that you were in their presence and you're not. So with me being in my 6th year of widowhood, I've just had to realize I've got to take some initiative, and I've got to make things happen, and I've got to contact people that I'm missing. And if I can see that they're still not there for me, then I understand I have to move on. But it eliminates the thoughts that I'm having of where are they, and I want to see them. I'm able to say, you know what, it doesn't work anymore, let it go. Understand that the healing process cannot be rushed. We can't rush through it. We have to go through it. It will give us highs. It will give us lows. It will come when we least expect it. It will come when we're home alone. It will come when we're in the car. It will come in the middle of a convention. Whenever it comes, it's going to come. But we have to allow that and not give ourselves deadlines, and most importantly, don't let others give us deadlines. People want to say, oh, it's been a year, how long are you going to do this? Oh, it's been 2 years, you need to move on. We are moving on. We're moving on every day. If we get up and brush our teeth and comb our hair, we are moving on, but it's not an overnight process. And allow yourself to take time to grieve and push people back. When they say those things, you need to move on, I am moving on. I will grieve on my own time. I'm sorry that you don't understand, and that's fine. Pick your friends wisely. Boy, that's an important one, because when we surround ourselves with people who are happy and supportive, it makes us feel better. When we surround ourselves with people who are negative, who complain a lot, who don't support where we are at this juncture, it causes us to withdraw, to feel sad. We might even go to a depression. But if we pick our friends wisely and surround ourselves with people who make us feel better, guess what? We're going to feel better. It's not that hard to do either, but it takes some concentration and some focus. Seek people who have walked your path. That's the most important of all. When I was widowed, I didn't have anybody. You know, I felt like I am the Lone Ranger. I'm sitting over here freaking out by myself. I don't know what to do. There's nobody coming around to try to help me or show me. I live in a house with an 8-foot brick fence. It was a really difficult and lonely place to be. And I didn't like it, but I didn't know what to do. I wasn't on social media. I had no idea of all the different sites there are where you can meet people who feel the same way and who support one another. So just pick your friends very wisely and understand that the social media sites are there. Understand that I'm here every Tuesday and we have a fabulous group of people. I get so excited when I see you guys here, and I love the camaraderie and I love the friends that are forming, and everybody in the chat rooms on Facebook. If you're watching the show and you're not in the chat room, that's okay. Friend me. Let's become friends and let's keep the dialogue going. I've come so far in my 6 years of widowhood, and I've lost the majority of my family, so I've seen death so many times and from a lot of different angles, and I really feel better when I reach out to people to help people understand that we're going to be okay. We're really going to be okay. It's a hard place to be. We don't want to be there, but life has brought us to this place, and by surrounding ourselves with people who care and understand and can offer words of wisdom, it makes everything so much better. It really and truly does. Wow, Nyla says it took a long time to figure out who me was. And it does take a long time to figure out who you are as an individual. We identify ourselves by the person that we're with. And I remember I used to always say that it takes a long time to stop saying we and us and to learn how to say I and me. That's hard to do. But that's what happens when you're widowed, and we have to regroup and we have to find our own identity and not the identity that we had as half of a great couple. So yeah, it's important that you said that, Nyla. Thank you for sharing that. And to just figure out, who are we? That's so right. Yes, and Terry says he continues to say it. Yeah, it takes a long time. It's like, who am I? Being by myself. What do I want? It's not about me as a couple. It's not about my spouse anymore. It's about me and what do I want to create a great life for myself. And that's why I'm doing the show, because we have to create it on our own. And I don't know what your faith is, but pray constantly. You know, I pray all of the time, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. I think in my darkest hour, if God hadn't have been there, I would have had nobody. I mean, my dog and my cat, and they give me great love. But in the worst hour and in the middle of the night, if you just say your prayers and you know that God's there for you all the time. He's there 24/7 and he's listening. And he's not going to switch everything up and make life perfect for us, because we have to grow through the adversity, and we do grow. And people who have lost loved ones are very special to me, because there's a sense of compassion that you can't really develop until you're there. And once you are there, you can look back and say, I've grown in so many ways and I'm not finished growing and I want to have a good life. I don't want to be lonely and sad and pitiful for the rest of my life. And even though none of us knows what's coming, we have to make the effort. So I love you so much. I want this year to be really great, and I'm here for you, and I want to hear your comments on Facebook. I love it when you share with me what's going on. And don't forget, I'm giving away another case of Benitos. So go to my website, RobinCraigDirect.com, and just say anything with the word Benitos in it, and the 10th person is going to get a case of these delivered to your doorstep. It's going to be great. So please join me every Tuesday evening. Contact me on Facebook and Twitter and let me know your thoughts about the show. If you have any ideas, any suggestions, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, and most of all, know that I love you and that things are going to be okay. Happy New Year. Get your Happy Makers out. Let people know that the new year has arrived and it's going to be great.